Hello. Today, I'm going to be talking about dealing with drawn line debt. Now, when I say line debt, you may be wondering what I'm talking about in the first place. And basically, the more lines you draw on a page, I feel like the more your mind may become a little bit more stressed out with dealing it. Because much like other types of debt, like student loans, credit card debt, granted those debts are a lot worse. I mean, a lot more than drawing debt, I would say. But I speak from experience, sadly. But that's me going off topic. But like the more lines you add to a page, I feel like it adds a certain layer of stress, and I want to talk about dealing with that. In digital, we're kind of blessed here because we don't have to, we have Control Z. You could work on a different layer, but if you're working on paper, I mean, you make a mistake, and it's a big pain to undo that mistake. I mean, you could use whiteout, which usually makes a larger mess. You could erase it, which can work sometime, but not always. Um, but I would say it more has to do with getting a lot of experience and getting used to it. And when you do that, you eventually get more acclimated to more lines on a page. Another way to deal with line debt is to sorry, I'm coughing. Another way to deal with it is to take breaks. So in another video, and I probably have said this a million times, there's a technique called the Pomodoro technique, in which you do a 25-minute concentrated practice session, then you take a 5-minute break, and then you do another 25 minutes and 5-minute break, and you repeat that another time, then you take a longer break. So it's like 25, 5, 25, 5, 25, then you take like a longer break, maybe like a half hour or maybe even 25 minutes. But it's really up to you, and the more you draw, the more you'll eventually get into the flow, and you'll have a lot less to worry about. And sorry if it's a bit loud. It's really hot right now. Sometimes when I make these videos, I make them way in advance, and right now it's July, so it's very hot, and you may hear fireworks. And it may be raining too, so I hope I don't lose power again, because I lost power earlier today for about a minute, and luckily I didn't lose anything. Right now I'm drawing a box, and the one thing I've always felt when it comes to line debt is to really try to be cautious when you're drawing lines, trying to make them as clear as possible. Ghosting your lines, and when I say ghosting, it has to do with not drawing your actual line, but trying to draw between the points that you want to connect. Like here, I'm just doing a straight line between this point here and this point here. This point here is a little bit obscured because I covered it up before, and I kind of missed that initial starting point. And there's a lot to really concentrate on to try to get your drawing as accurate as possible to the plots you pointed. And the thing is, this is just a straight line. I'm not even talking about different types of curves. Like, you could ghost S curves, you can go C curves. Like, let me give you an example. I missed that spot, and I missed that one, and I missed that one as well. But if you ghost it more, the more you ghost through those points, I think the higher the likelihood of you being able to have accurate drawn lines, or like you'll hit them, you'll hit more of them. See, I missed that one, but I hit that one. So think of it like that. You want to aim for clean lines, and it can be very taxing. Like when you're starting out, one thing I will say is that, I mean, I felt like I would spend 2 to 3 minutes to draw or to ghost until I eventually felt comfortable enough to execute a line. And I will say this, when I'm recording these videos, I still get a bit of stress. So when I draw, I tend to make a lot of mistakes until I'm like maybe 10, 15 minutes into the video. But, even after that, I still make mistakes, and I think accepting your mistakes and trying to power through them is another good solution, because you have to just admit that you're going to make a ton of mistakes. It's just a part of the learning process. You can't think of it like modern education in which you kind of get punished for mistakes. Like, the idea is you do want to correct your mistakes, but like I said, it's not the end of the world, but always be trying to work towards improving yourself and your rendering skills. That's what I would say regarding that. So another thing is getting used to a bunch of lines on the page. In addition to that causing stress, it's something very important to get used to, especially if you want to go into painting, because a lot of the design up front, the big design up front, a lot of that matters in the end, because, well, it can make or break a composition. Not that I've worked on any large compositions, as I'm still trying to get my rendering skills way higher. But, with larger compositions, I mean, there's a good chance that you may be trying to draw something or paint something that takes, like, a lot of sessions to do. And if you make, like, a really big mistake, it could really... Or if you can undo it, that's awesome. But if you're in a period in which you can't undo a mistake, like if you're doing a large drawing for someone and perhaps you really can't erase it, or you worked in some type of medium that isn't undoable with Control Z, then it could be extremely stressful. Like, you may even think you ruined it. So, the other thing you should understand is that, being human, you make mistakes. Just try to fix your next mistake. Perhaps you could even try to cover it up in some way, unless it makes a larger issue as you go. Now, if you're trying to get up your rendering skills, I would also largely consider that you draw through your forms to understand the 3D nature of things. I feel like it helps you get a lot more practice rather than just drawing, just drawing the stuff you would actually see in person. And I think drawing through your forms could help you get a really good constructional background, like understanding what makes up things. And by doing that extra practice, it really leaves you off in a better position to deal with line debt. But hey, at the end of the day, the one thing you should know is I'd rather have line debt than student debt. Any day. Any day. So perhaps you could say that line debt is the best type of debt. It's not like a debt like a car loan or a house loan or credit card loans that just pile up. I hope I don't sound too jaded. People often tell me that. For being as young as I am, I don't know, they say I'm jaded. I try to be. I try not to be. I just try to be realistic. I kind of missed it there, so I'm gonna ghost more. And I would say, like, if I would be working with a traditional medium, like a pencil, but I like mechanical pencils, but I feel like I have a lot more control with traditional medium. I've only been drawing digitally for a little over a year now, or probably a year and a half at this point, and I feel like you have a lot less control. I mean, I like digital a lot more. Well, I don't know, I like both. They all have their own fun qualities that I wouldn't give up. Like, I like to use both, is what I'm saying, but I also like I never want to get in debt like trying to have to pay a monthly subscription to like Adobe or someone like that. I mean, I don't even say debt, just like I feel like when you're an artist, it's very important to keep your costs low unless you're a professional and it's covered. I keep missing that line. But yeah, I use Paint Tool Sai. I like it. I don't know, it's simple. The main reason why I got Paint Tool Sai was because I heard that it could run on non-powerful computers, and you could like draw on large canvases without having to worry about uh, running into memory issues or slowing down. And I have to say, Paint Tool Sai, really cool. Like, I'm running, I'm running Paint Tool Sai, I'm running my app Thumbtastic. Like, whenever I use Reference, I use a bunch of these, and I use OBS Studio for recording my screen. And I'll tell you, I have not run into issues. It all runs seamlessly. And on rare occasions, I'll also have a browser open. I will give you a tip about that. I would not open Google if you have a bunch of programs open. Google loves RAM, I believe, and it just it zaps everything. I've had Google opened one time, and I want to say it crashed my program, so I lost a video, and I was not happy because I spent a long time recording it, and I was like, oh great, OBS stopped responding. I'm like, how does that even happen? Yeah, I was not happy, so now I like I'm talking Google Chrome, not the search engine. I mean, I use the search engine. Like, I could use that with another browser, but when I'm logged into my Google Chrome profile, I mean, Google's great. Trust me, I really like them. It's just my computer is a bit underpowered, and when it's like that, you could run into issues. My computer's a bit old, so I mean, it's Windows 10, but it's I think it only has 4 gigs of RAM, maybe 8. I think 4, or a little over. I don't know, something like that. I love it though. I mean, I don't need something more complex. I mean, I do have a older MacBook Air as well, which I love. So back to line debt. I am drawing through my form. I'm trying to draw over here. I'm trying to draw the back dimension. And the important thing is, I feel like it can be really stressful to deal with more lines, because the other thing I wanted to say is that sometimes if you make a mistake, everything could end up looking kind of like wonky or off. And I think it's important to accept that and try to power through your drawing. But also being able to spot your mistakes is extremely important in the entirety. I feel like I can put it on a shirt. I would rather have line debt than student debt. I missed that one. Now, another thing that could help you manage line debt is drawing from the same direction. I forget the shortcut to do it, but in digital you could rotate the page and you could always be like drawing from one direction. It's easier to do this with like paper, or if you have like a wooden pad you draw on with like paper on top, you could just rotate the page to get the proper angle. Personally, I'm most comfortable drawing from right to left and using my shoulder. So that could also be a way that can help you to manage line debt. Now, we have, we can see the box, we can see through the box. Now I want to add a cylinder to this box. I'm just drawing crosshairs. I'm making it really, I'm adding a lot of line debt. Because, like, another confusing thing is, if you really mess up your box, it's kind of hard to tell what line does this one belong to? What line does this one belong to? You know, adding everything on top kind of adds a little bit of complexity to your thing. Now, I'm taking a rectangle here, and, you know, it's a bit of a more simple object. But, like, if you get into more complex objects or construction of various things, it can be a lot. Like, I would recommend you look at some of the videos that I made on drawing insects, and I kind of learned a thing or two about drawing insects, like what to draw first. Like, I found drawing the major body forms first and then drawing the legs was a lot more beneficial to how I began and approach every insect and arachnid, because, you know, a lot of the other construction obscures a lot of those legs. Like, a lot of insects have what I like to call, like, insect armor to kind of protect them. Like, think of like a beetle, right? They have like a shell, and it covers like the top of their head, it covers their thorax, and it covers their abdomen. Like, but it sits on top of that and kind of obscures the well, obviously the ball of the head, the ball of the thorax, and the ball of the abdomen. So it adds a good deal of complexity that that if you would draw those main forms first and then the shell, yes, you could draw through your the shell, but I think it's easier to knock out the legs first. So a lot of it will depend on you getting experience and kind of sitting through it and figuring it out yourself. Like, I feel like, you know, I guess you could relate it to real life. The more debt you accumulate and pay off, the more you kind of get used to it. Which I know probably having no debt at all is probably a lot better. And I hate to say it, that like debt is just one of those things that I feel like you can't get away with in life unless you have money already. But line debt, if you're learning to draw, you're going to have line debt no matter what. There's no avoiding it. Alright, I could be proved wrong, but if you draw in a certain style, maybe. But I would say you're getting used to line debt would be a lot better. And if you do have any other real life debt, you know, getting used to it and trying to pay it off if possible, as painful as it is, could be a good habit. I mean, I know it's not possible for everyone. I've always felt that most people who get in real life debt didn't really intend to go that far deep. So right now I want to draw a cylinder. And it's going to be difficult for me to fit that ellipse in. It kind of worked. So I have that one. I don't like that one. I'm trying to ghost my ellipses. I'm trying to hit all four corners or sides with the entirety of the ellipse. A little over. And that kind of works. Now, since it's a cylinder, I want to connect, well, you know what, I have to draw another top thing, dividing the planes, which is really hard. And I can tell my box is a bit wonky here. So, as I said, a good drawing really depends on having really good constructional foundation skills. Because at the end, most of your mistakes will come through. And now I wanted to connect the cylinder, which it would pretty much go through like the center here, like there and there, or like think I was a bit off. A lot off. But hey, that is how it goes. A bit off. So yeah, I hope you learned a thing or two about draw online debt. Thanks for sticking around. If you like my video, please like the video. If you like my channel, please subscribe to it. If you have a question, please ask it in the comments, or you could email me. Thank you. Bye.